Hi, so I'm back with you. I'm in here. Thank you very much for everything that you have been in the past 6 Sundays. And while we did our journey uh, to whatever extent we could, I thought it is important that we keep this conversation alive. And I said, let me reach out to you any which way I can. And here I am today to talk about the same subject, same topic, same issue in our life. How do I become powerful in life? How do I become unstoppable in life? How do I become a leader in life? How do I become a person who becomes what he is capable of becoming? So I will continue from where we left and just wanted to express my gratitude that all of you did a wonderful job of participating in that seminar, in that webinar. And I must tell you, I was impressed. I was impressed by the courage of people who shared out of their own lives. They were not worried. They didn't bother about what people will think about them. They only knew one thing, that yes, there is something for me in this particular webinar, and I'm asked to share. And if I share, I'm told I will take a big load off my shoulder. I will become peaceful. I'll become easier. I'll be able to figure out a way out of this particular wall that is engulfing me right now. And then, as I saw, most of you did that. Most of you realized that yes, this technology, this whole idea, this conversation of distinguishing reality versus the interpretation, the story, the meaning in which we live our lives needs to be distinguished. We need to come and get in touch with the reality. Only then we can deal with our lives. Otherwise, we are living in a world which cannot be dealt with, and we might just end up being the same way over and over again. And that's the distinction, insanity, as we know of. So today I'm going to talk about a distinction, an idea that we could not cover it properly during those Sundays. And whatever else is also required to be covered, I'll probably do it in the future videos. I'll try to make it as short as possible if I can, but this video is with you so you can watch it over and over again in case you find that I'm going a little faster and then not really giving you enough examples. In future, when you need more, we will do inshallah longer version also, but let me start right now with my slides. So this particular conversation today, once again, comes back to the same issue as to how do I be powerful in my life. And as I said, this conversation is meant for participants who have gone through the entire series of being effective. Those who haven't, chances are they may not be able to get everything that I'm talking about, or they may not be able to listen to all that I'm saying because they will have their own judgments to make, their agreement and disagreements. And then the participants who've gone through it, they know right now we will keep our disagreements aside. We will also keep our agreements aside and we'll just try it on. And if we find that these ideas begin to work in our lives, they make us happy, they get our relationships going, they allow us to see ourselves uh, bigger than who we have considered ourselves to be, and give us the power to deal with life such that we become effective in life in all areas of our lives. I think you will listen to me very differently, and I'll take it for granted that you know most of the distinctions. Here we will talk about one such distinction, very powerful distinction of becoming unstoppable in life. The intention is to keep the thinking process going rather than continue to live in thoughts. You are aware of it that most of the time we are in our thoughts. Most of the time we come from I know. And when we know something, then we fall back upon it. But that's an old solution to the new problem. What we figured out was that if we have a new issue in our life, new problem, we need to think afresh, not come from our thoughts. Most people come from thoughts. Most people come from their successes. Most people come from the area where they have achieved some success. So they will probably go back to that and then apply that particular solution. But as you and I know, most of the time it has not worked because we need to think afresh. If we do that, it allows us to grow to our possible potential. Here, the word is possibility. All along, we only said to ourselves, I will come from possibility. I will look at life with a new lens. I'll stop wearing the same yellow glass that I have worn for the last 20, 30, 50, 60 years. And then I will try and be humble enough to come from the arena called I do not know. But the major, bigger aha moment is when you allow yourself to occur, and then the response that you get from the self comes only when you get into the domain of I do not know that I do not know. Now, today's topic is about being straight in life. And then what we are saying is that unless and until we can be straight in lives, chances are we will run our rackets. We will try to prove that we are right, or we will try and look good and become savior in lives. But in the process, either we will get fired or we'll get hired, depending upon you're dominating or you're trying to save somebody. But both are these games, and we said no point playing games. Let us start becoming straight in lives. And one of the things that we need to become aware of and then start becoming alert is the aspect called are we authentic in life or not? Harvard professor Chris, he studied for 40 years human beings, human behavior. And in his article, which is entitled Teaching Smart People How to Learn, he makes a point that he is amazed to find that he went about meeting and talking and being with people who came out with double, triple MBAs. They came from the finest universities in the world. He picked up those individuals who were highly successful, highly competent, and he figured out that even these people need to learn how to learn, need to learn something about who they are. Because smart people generally will come from I know. Very difficult to teach smart people. And he makes some very powerful point. And one of the points he makes, which is very, very crucial from our point of view, is that on the subject of inauthenticity, he says, put simply, people consistently act inconsistently, unaware of the contradiction between their espoused theory and their theory in use, between the way they think they are acting and the way they really act. Now, this is crucial. This is one of the most powerful distinctions we can ever discuss amongst ourselves. And I want you to consider this particular distinction as squarely as possible. What we are saying is that if you want to be not just successful and happy in life, then you need to ask yourself, do you live a life which is straight? And what he is saying, Professor Chris is saying, is that human beings consistently act inconsistently. And they are not even aware that whatever theory they have in their mind is completely contradictory with the way they use that theory, between the way they think they are acting and the way they really act. Now ask yourself, what areas of our lives do we behave differently? Do we think differently? Do we present differently to ourselves and to the world outside, such that it is not what we espouse? We believe one thing, but we show up as another. And where does it happen? When does it happen? Let's look at this a little more clearly. But before we get into authenticity, just be aware that somebody has defined that there are three fundamental elements of unstoppable being. I was so taken aback when I read that. I said, wow. So the unstoppable beings, unstoppable people, leaders who achieve unbelievable results in their lives, how do they become unstoppable? How do they bounce back? What is it that gives them the power? What is it that makes them strong? And then one of them is called authenticity. We'll look at the other two in future videos. And what is authenticity? Being and acting consistent with who you hold yourself out to be for others and who you hold yourself to be for yourself. When leading, being authentic leaves you grounded and able to be straight without using force. So the point here we are making is that can we ask ourselves the question, where do I consistently behave inconsistently? Where do I behave in a manner that I don't think I am that, but I end up being that, or I end up presenting myself as that to others, whether it be the family or your organization or your own self as well. Be with me and then and begin to reflect on what it is saying. So authenticity is if you present yourself one way and you are another way, that is being inauthentic. Now, in which situation do we present ourselves one way, whereas we are the other way? I think many situations. Every situation where we are not in touch with ourselves, where we believe, oh, I am a very kind person, but we end up not being kind at times. Or we say, I am selfless, but we end up being selfish also. Now, the issue is not that we are selfish. Issue is not that we do things which are not appropriate. Issue is we ignore, we avoid accepting the fact that we are pretending. It's like saying it says gold stamped on a thing that doesn't make it gold. That is inauthentic. And all we need to do is to own up to this. That is being authentic about your inauthenticity. Authenticity begins with being authentic about your inauthenticity. Now, this is very powerful. Generally, we think, oh, yes, I need to be authentic. But the litmus test is, are you able to figure out where you are being inauthentic? And if you can figure out where you are inauthentic, are you able to, first of all, own it up that, yes, I mean, you are being inauthentic so far as this aspect is concerned with your wife, with your children, with your own self, or with your career. We'll talk about this. Whatever you are not able to be with will not let you be. Remember this. At any given point in time, we realized that making a decision will not help us. Making a choice is the powerful place to come from. And choice means accepting, first of all, the reality as it is, accepting people as they are. If you cannot accept people, or if you cannot even accept your situation right now as you are living, chances are if you will not accept it and you cannot allow it to be, it will not allow you to be as well. And therefore, in life, whatever issue you and I are going through, our first step is to identify and accept the situation is so and so without giving a lot of meaning, without interpreting, without blaming, without saying, oh, somebody else is responsible for it. No, now this is the situation and I need to come from there. Most of us think of ourselves as being authentic. Now this is very funny that while we are inauthentic quite a few times, if not most of the time, we believe that no, I'm authentic. Each of us in certain situations and each of us in certain ways is consistently inauthentic. And because we avoid at all costs confronting our inauthenticities, we are consistently inauthentic about being inauthentic. Not only with others, but with ourselves as well. The point is, you are inauthentic and don't know that you are inauthentic. And that's called fooling yourself about fooling yourself. And that's truly foolish. You see, the problem is, and I think this is very natural, given the fact that we are not complete and whole, given the fact that we do not consider ourselves to be as good as we would like to be, we will not allow ourselves to be presented as we are. So we will hide ourselves. People do that. Some do more, some do less. Some are courageous and they could speak in the webinar as well. Some are still debating, should I allow myself to look bad? Now, we think that if I start looking good in people's eyes, people will not know it. The funny thing is, whoever you are with, and you are trying to show off as somebody who's good so that you are not being taken advantage of. People don't know your weakness, and people think, oh, Amin is great. Chances are they already, in their own way, know that you are lying. In their own way, they know that you are hiding. you are not the powerful self that you're capable of. People can see that, but we think, no, 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 no. Nobody will come to know. And then that is being inauthentic about our inauthenticity. It's like fooling yourself about fooling yourself. That's truly foolish. Being authentic is being and acting consistent with who you hold yourself to be for others and who you hold yourself to be for yourself. While this is fairly obvious, what is very much less obvious is the path to authenticity. Now, this is crucial. The path to authenticity is being authentic about your inauthenticities. Now, so long as you and I cannot do that, chances are we will not have a life which will give us peace of mind. We will not be courageous. We will not be able to take on life. We will realize that we are weak because we cannot express ourselves. We cannot let the whole world know that I am made up of both the positive and the negative, strength and the weakness. People are scared of weakness and the negatives. You will remember that one of the conditions for realizing your transformation from your participation in this course is to be willing to discover and confront your inauthenticities and be willing to be authentic about your inauthenticities. I cannot let you know how much I admired people who were freely able to talk about their inauthenticities, owning up that yes, we are human beings, owning up that yes, the identity which is inside us, who we manufactured, who we created from the age of 5 to 10, is running our life. I'm not running my life. So all my fears come from 5-year old. All my attempts to be successful in life come from 10-year old, because there is failure to be. We consider that there was something wrong with us at some point in time, and now in order to cover it up, we move ahead in life, and then unfortunately we move with force. We move out of competition. We move out of proving to ourselves and to others that I am not that. And to that extent, I think we are not living an authentic life, and we are not really peaceful, and we are not really happy even while we are achieving what we are achieving. So having said that, let's come to how do we go about becoming authentic. And the first point that we made was authenticity does not begin with being authentic. It doesn't begin with that. It begins by being authentic about our inauthenticity. I don't know if you remember the example I gave you during webinar, that this girl was a girl who got up and said that I hate anybody who lies. And then she ended up connecting with her past life, and then she said, yes, i I saw that my father was a liar. He lied to my mother. He lied every single time, and I hated my father. And since I hated my father, I started hating the whole world, whoever was lying to me. Now she was so uh, how would I put it? She was so compelled. She was so clear that anybody who's lying is not a human being, is not a good person. And when she was told that that's her racket, because chances are she hates people who lie because she herself lies. And then suddenly something occurred to her, and she accepted, confessed that, yes, I can see I also lie. And then she was told that those who don't lie do not have any hatred for people who lie. Those who don't lie will not have any problems with people. And then she was told, you know, you have a problem. You are not free. Free for what? Free to lie. Who said speaking the truth is a good thing and then lying is a bad thing? That's again your definition. And in that definition, you are trapped. Can you become free of that? Chances are then you will begin to even not own up your own lying. You will own up people who lie also, but still you will not condemn them, not box them, not tell them they are bad. And chances are you'll be able to deal with such people also, whether it's your life, your partner, or your work situation. Chances are you will start becoming more and more powerful because you will stop branding people. Human beings are never not concerned about looking good. Now, this is one of the most important thing we need to realize, that our whole problem in life is wanting to look good. And in looking good, we make decisions which at times destroy us. We always want to say yes when we do not even want to say yes. We want to say no, I can't do it. But you will find that we are such that at the cost of our authenticity, at the cost of being straight, we will end up wanting to keep that relationship going, and we will say, yes, I will do it for you. But then what happens is we only do half of what we promised, because in any case we didn't want to do that. And I'm sure if I ask you to give me examples, if it was a live webinar, you will give me tons of examples where now you can clearly see, yes, you always live life just to be relatable, just to be in good books, just for people's admiration, just because we want people to like us, just because we do not want people to not admire us. And because we have kind of created a definition that Amin is good, he will never say no, we end up saying yes. And what this distinction says is that uh, this is like a light exists only in flashing, a human being exists only as a body of concerns. This is, we are actually made up of looking good. Honestly speaking, we are completely made up of looking good. And Oprah Winfrey, I told you, after 10,000 interviews, every single person, including President Obama, basically said, how did I do? Was I good? Did I appear well? Etc. etc. So that is basically being human. Nothing wrong with it. It is our identity. Now, people are not able to accept that because they think that is who they are. You are not that. That's your identity. We have distinguished that our self is whole and complete, joyous and happy. But there are stops and barriers that do not allow us to experience this. I'm inviting you to experience it. And then what it says here is that we have golden rules about relations, such as keep them happy. मैं घर की बहू हूँ. Let me keep them happy because I am subordinate. Let me keep my boss happy because otherwise I'll lose my job. So we do something so that they are attached to us. What you and I can predict out of that is that we will get better and better at that. We become better and better at looking good now. And it says a rat will choose a new tunnel if the cheese is moved. Human being will go down the tunnel with no cheese forever. What we care about is being in the right tunnel, which is insanity. If there is no cheese there, why do you want to continue looking good in your life? And if the relationship is not working, why aren't you considering another possibility, which is being authentic? But I'm not saying out of force. I'm not asking you to rock the boat right now. All I'm saying is consider the possibility that there is a possibility of being straight in life. And chances are people will then begin to admire you. Right now, then don't admire you because they know that you are only trying to look good and they don't trust you. We are being used by looking good. Looking good owns our life. So I'm saying let's own looking good rather than allowing the looking good to own us. Big distinction here. I'm sure you are getting it because we've discussed this earlier. We all want to be admired. Almost none of us is willing to confront just how much we want to be admired. We will do anything to get admired by people. Just the threat of looking bad, just the threat of looking bad, which is like to look wrong or stupid or irrational for most of us, destroys even the possibility of being authentic. The need to avoid the embarrassment or humiliation we imagine to be the result of looking bad leaves us defensive, posturing or petulant, childishly sulking or bad tempered. And by the way, being defensive, posturing or petulant does not look good. So we think by not looking bad, we will look good, but no, then we come out defensive. We come out angry and at times childish, and we sulk and we withdraw, and that doesn't look good. So why look good such that that also looks bad in front of people's eyes? So what do we need to do? Let's stop being small. It is being part of human, I understand, but let's stop being small. Let's watch ourselves carefully. We will take every opportunity now to catch ourselves being small. We won't like to see our weaknesses, I understand, but we will give ourselves a powerful opportunity to master these weaknesses now. By definition, we cannot pretend to be authentic. We will be willing to discover, confront, and tell the truth about our inauthenticities when and where we are not genuine or real. Let's begin with our own selves to begin with. Then we'll be so with our partners or whom we love, with our family who we care about. And then probably we'll extend to our organizations or workplace, and then probably even go public. But if we cannot find the courage of realizing and expressing that, yes, many times I'm inauthentic, then we can forget about being at peace. We cannot be at peace. When you're not real, you're not genuine in relationship, when you're not real with your own self, when you're not going to accept that, yes, who you are is so and so, forget about having peace in life and forget about being powerful. That's far, far away if we will ignore the aspect of being authentic about inauthenticity. After years of studying leaders, George says, and their traits, their attributes, I believe that leadership begins and ends with authenticity. So I'm saying, you want to be unstoppable, you want to lead your life and lead lives of your people or your organization, remember this, it begins and ends with authenticity. Find in yourself the real self that leaves you free to be authentic about your inauthenticity. You know, we have a self, the real self. That self is your authentic self. This process is complete when you experience freedom, courage, and peace of mind. This is important for those around you for whom your inauthenticities matter and who are likely to be aware of them in any case, as I told you. In conclusion, authenticity is one of the conditions for a great and powerful personal and professional life. Which are the other conditions? I told you 3 conditions are there. We looked at authenticity today. Consider where you are trying to look good unnecessarily. Figure out how much you have paid for being looking good, you know, in the process. And then the very same relationship you wanted to protect, and therefore you said yes instead of saying no, that relationship gets far more broken than it would have been earlier. In fact, in the earlier case, immediately that person may not be happy with you, but very soon he would realize that you are a person who is straight, who's authentic, and then good, you told me no, now I can worry about it myself. I can fight my battle because you're straight with me. You say yes and then don't really serve that person as he is expecting, that relationship will be broken forever probably. The other conditions are responsibility and integrity, and life works only when it is grounded in these 3 attributes, in these 3 distinctions. We looked at authenticity. I haven't been able to give you too many examples, but I'm sure you are now very powerful enough to relate to your life and then begin to live a life with authenticity. Responsibility and integrity, very powerful. We'll talk about that also, and we'll try and bring all 3 of them in our life such that we become unstoppable. Otherwise, how we do anything is how we do everything. We are the creatures and prisoners of our own habits, and we'll continue to live the way that we have lived so far, expecting different results which will not occur. So having said this, I think I will end my video here, and then I hope you will watch it and watch it again in case I've gone too fast. But thank you very much. This is the only way now I can be in touch with you. And if you like it, do let me know that you did, and I'll make more efforts to communicate more and more about these distinctions as we go along. Thank you very much. Bye bye.